For a time, we tried to contact him by radio, but no response.
Welcome, everybody, to the first ever Dumbmarks Podomania. Gentlemen, it is here. The Super Bowl of wrestling has arrived after a long week of a lot of content.
It's not over yet.
It is not over yet. There's more to come, but we have finally arrived to night one of the Dumbmarks Podomania. So you guys will catch us here tonight. We'll be breaking down everything that happened from NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver, as well as the last night of the Wednesday Night Wars and AEW Dynamite. Tomorrow, you guys can catch us at our standard 11 a.m. kickoff time for your favorite Saturday brunch bunch, going into all things WrestleMania, Drink of the Week, the intro, One Gotta Go, and Weekend Sports as we normally do it. And then on Sunday, you guys can catch us for day 3 of Podomania, where we will be breaking down and recapping night 1 of WrestleMania, as well as giving our predictions for night 2, which, by the way the forecast is looking, doesn't seem too pleasant of an experience if you're going to be there live. It's about 90% chance of thunderstorms in Tampa on night 2. Don't know how that's going to happen. I don't believe that WWE has had to deal with rain outside for a WrestleMania yet.
Light, very light.
Okay, well,
never a thunderstorm.
This is Tampa. This is Florida storm rain. So it could come in hot and heavy for 5 minutes, or it could be something that lasts a good couple hours. So we'll see. But on to the topic at hand for tonight's show, gentlemen. TakeOver was not a takeover for me. This was the one show where it didn't feel like a takeover. I didn't like the 2 nights.
No.
To me, night 1, watching it on USA completely just made it feel like a Wednesday night special. Besides a different state setup, but I did not get a takeover feel from this event, and that's a little bit disappointing for me.
Watching it on Peacock on Wednesday night, I think helped because I didn't have the commercial breaks from USA, and I think it did give a little more of that takeover feel. I do feel overall that the event did feel like a Wednesday night special more than a takeover, though.
So I was a company guy. I bit the bullet Wednesday night. I watched Dynamite live and was tweeting out that along with the show as it went live on air. I went back in after that was over, and I watched the DVR that I had of night 1 for TakeOver. But overall, I mean, okay, if you 2-night event, first time ever doing it. Obviously, Wednesday and Thursday, different feel from what we're used to for a TakeOver. Standard TakeOver is 4 to 5 matches. If you're grading this on a scale of 1 to 10, what are you giving Stand and Deliver?
8.
A?
8.
Oh, 8.
1 to 10, and he rates it an A. That would be a dumb mark. That would be a dumb mark.
2 plus 2, Thomas Jefferson.
Okay, 8.
I'll give night 1 an 8, but I'll give night 2 like a 4.
Okay.
So average of a
6. We're going to go with 6 then?
Yeah.
12 divided by 2 for all those Woody High math generals out there.
That's Thomas Jefferson.
All right, so we got a 8. Jay, you got an 8 for overall, just both nights combined. You'll give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Okay, Donald, you're at a 6. Chris, where you at?
I'll go right in the middle. I'll go with a 7.
I'll go 6.5.
I had a feeling you were doing that.
It was 6.5.
I was more invested in the night one. I feel like
Absolutely.
night one was a better show. You could have used night two for the ratings on Wednesday, and then flip the two, and just kept like the Gargano situation on the same card or the same spots.
So night one they did what, a 768 or 788, something like that.
788, I think.
And AEW was like 600 something. It was about 100,000 difference as far as viewership. So they essentially just flip flop spots from where they normally are on Wednesday. The two companies going head to head. So I wonder if you would have gotten more of a rating if you flipped the card, like you said, Jay, because you had Balor Cross, you had Cole O'Reilly. All the titles were defended on night two except for the tag team championships.
And the UK.
And the women.
Yeah. The UK, I don't. That's NXT UK, so I won't throw that into the mix. That's just a one-off special because I feel it was Mania, so they wanted to do something with that, and who knows when they're going to bring that back into play. But
that's how they did it whenever Walter won it 2 years ago as well. It was Mania weekend.
Make it there, yeah. So, all right. Well, let's break it down. Let's start off with night one. What was your guys' takeaway from night one, match of the night? How'd you feel the overall show went?
My match of the night was Ciampa and Walter. Man, that was good. The ending, I really didn't care for it, but the match overall covered up for the ending. And then overall, I love night one. Night one was very impressive to me, wrestling wise and everything. Very, very impressive.
You could have changed the last three matches and had them all, either one of them, be the main event.
Between Walter, Ciampa, the six,
the tag title,
the tag, and the
tag,
and changed them, and either one could have been main event. That's how I felt about those.
Yeah, I felt, Kushida and Dunn was what it was. But again, this is where I draw back to my initial statement where it didn't feel like a takeover. To me, the opening match of a takeover sometimes is the best match on the card. And that to me felt more like a Wednesday night matchup than a takeover match.
I agree.
Same.
I was expecting the tag titles to open up the show.
That's what I was thinking too. Some excitement like right off the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you get rid of Kushida, Dunn, and the Gauntlet, I think it's a stronger show than what they had with those matches added into the card on night one.
Yeah, I feel like the show did build up. For me, Walter and Ciampa was the match of the night for me, but I still felt like the next two matches still delivered, and it just slowly progressed as the night went on. And so you didn't get that opening match that was going to, steal the night for you. But, it was what it was, like you said. And probably could have been left off till next week on Tuesday or something. But, the whole night just moved slowly up and up.
If you would have took 4 or 5 matches out of both cards, you think you would have had a takeover feel?
Total?
And made one night.
2 nights, one night.
Made one night out of 5 of the matches. You think you'd have had a good show?
Yeah.
Takeover quality?
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Because I think that it probably would have been, if they would have just done it on Peacock instead of being on USA, they probably would have given it 3 hours, like they usually do now for takeovers, and you would have got a decent night. Now, which matches you pick and which matches you don't add, that's a whole other conversation for that.
I mean, we can certainly run through that, and say what we would pick. I would agree that Walter and Ciampa for me would be night one match of the night. I felt that going into it. I said it, on the podcast last weekend that was going to be my match. They were going to beat the holy hell out of each other, and they definitely did. Dawn, I agree with you. The finish itself, not sure if it was I don't think it was a botch finish. I just it kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And, to have it after some of the spots that they had in that match and to end it on that, it just didn't make much sense. There was a lot of that on with some of the matches on both nights where the booking for me just didn't make no sense logically, and we'll get into that on what I felt with that on night 2. The gauntlet itself, obviously they see a lot in Bronson Reed to put him over the way they did over the 2 nights. But like it was just Swerve hits him with 3 house calls and nothing, and then he gets up and does a moonsault or whatever it was like right after, and it's like, come on, dude, like that makes no sense.
Yeah,
like no sense at all. You know what I mean?
That match fell flat for me, and I feel like something that we discussed last week of that going into this match knowing what order everybody was going in. I really felt like that did take away from the match this week.
Killed the surprise.
I didn't mind that because of the style of the match. I thought it was going to be like a gauntlet, legit pinning your out next
instead
person
of
in.
Countdown.
Just like so I didn't mind that, but
I feel like if it would have been a countdown, you didn't know who was coming. I felt like that surprise element would have helped the match.
Then
that was the match.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say that marks. I was gonna say that was the match that felt like a Wednesday, like a regular Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And then I just soured the next night for me because it wasn't my pick, and I don't hate Bronson Reed, but he wasn't.
I enjoyed the match.
What, the second night?
Yeah, him and Gargano. I thought the match ended up being a good match. I'm the same with you, Jason. That wasn't my pick. I wasn't as invested.
Yes, it's an investment out of it. Yeah.
Like I said, this all comes back to me where it just didn't. I don't know if it was because it was 2 nights spread out, or the extended card on each night where some of the matches wouldn't be on a regular takeover. It just didn't feel. I didn't get that vibe at all. And one thing that disappointed me on both shows was this is the first time you had a legit audience there for both shows, and the crowd was flat both nights. I didn't feel the crowd helped that show at all on either night.
I didn't feel like they were as into it, but I did feel that it helped the show.
It was for me, but it felt like there was louder night 1.
If you're if this is your
audio too.
Yeah, and they did that too. So it's like you have live people there, but yet you're still pumping in crowd noise. It makes no sense.
I didn't notice it night 2
on the Tron.
I didn't notice it night 2. Night 1, I kind of noticed it.
It just made no sense. I mean, night 2, it felt like everybody was completely flat until you had Cole and O'Reilly, and even then, it felt like it was like they were, somebody was on the stage holding cue cards, telling them what to chant. Because the way that they broke out chants in that match, it was just kind of like, like TV shows back in the day. They used to be filmed live in front of studio audience. They'd have the applause flash. Everybody would be clapping. Well, it would be like they'd hold up a sign that would say "Fight Forever," and you get "Fight Forever" chants, and then it would say "This is awesome," and it would be "This is awesome" chants. Like the crowd did nothing to help either show on either night, and to me that was completely disappointing. You're a year without fans. You think that the fans would have been rabid in there, just nonstop, not go in there and hijack a show. Like I don't want fans to hijack a show because that's never good. That's never good for the performers. It's never good for the overall flow of the show itself. It detracts away from everything. But I wanted to feel like to me, it should have felt like an old school ECW crowd where they're that excited from start to finish, and it wasn't that at all.
It felt like the open side was wrestlers.
It probably was.
Yeah, like where Stephanie was, and it was like they were
I think a lot of it
all dressed up.
Pictures that I saw, the pictures that I saw online, it seemed like a lot of people were the normals that have been there the past few weeks since they let people in. So
they probably added people.
That could be it too. It's funny that you did mention that, Steve, though, about the crowd stuff, because when we went to WrestleMania 32 down Dallas, they would pop stuff up on the big Jumbotron, like during a match. Like, not to specifically tell you what to do, but like if it was like the New Day, they would throw up like a New Day chant on the Tron, like just to try to get the crowd to chant that.
When they did Brock and Ambrose, and they put up the numbers of how many suplexes he did, so the crowd could scream. Mm-hmm.
So you could count along with it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, so just running through the card, night one, kind of. Zoe Stark and Toni Storm were on the pre-show. I didn't catch it, obviously, because I was watching Dynamite. But apparently, if you didn't watch it live on Peacock on Wednesday, you couldn't go back and see it. It wasn't added in on the replay.
It's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube.
Okay. They put the whole takeover on YouTube now.
From what I heard, this match really showed Zoe Stark's inexperience, and it was sloppy, and it kind of shined on the fact of how green, quote unquote, wrestling term buzzword, that she is. I don't know. I didn't see it. I don't know. So I'm just going off of what I read and what I've heard. But yeah, it didn't help her in this instance to be in there. You figured she's in there with Tony, and Tony's a a pro that can go in the ring, that it would come off good. Like she's had her matches, on regular Wednesday nights, but apparently that wasn't the case from everything that I saw.
It wasn't a show stealer match, but
I felt like Tony was going through like a dry run. That's what it looked like to me. I guess because you're new talent, but she wasn't like full on Tony.
No, it felt like a Wednesday night match.
Yeah.
I mean, Tony shouldn't be on the pre-show, number one.
No. But
it just gave her a night to wrestle, and if that would have been a match like on a regular Wednesday night, I don't think it probably would have got the criticism that it got.
Yeah. Speaking of my girl,
there you go.
So then we already Nina Strauss with the national anthem.
Pass.
You didn't like that?
We already
I didn't hate it. It wasn't needed, but
we already touched on Kushida and Dunn. That was what it was. The gauntlet match we touched on. Do you feel that helped Bronson at all?
No.
Like, does he come out of that after these two nights in a better position than when he did going into it?
Wednesday night didn't help him. Thursday did.
All right, we'll touch on that when we get in night two. Walter and Ciampa, obviously that was the four of us for match of the night. Right? Jay, were you in agreement on that as well?
Toss up, but yeah. Like what
would be your other?
Huh?
What's your other? The women's?
It's hard to pick between the last three.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I today I listened to Mark Madden and Mike Manchuri. They did a special edition of their podcast, and they both said, they don't understand the fascination with Walter and why he's as big as he is. Both of them.
Man.
So I don't know. For me, I don't have a lot of outside knowledge of Walter. I know him and Keith Lee had this amazing match together on the Indies. I listened to him on Stone Cold's podcast. And then I've obviously watched him since he's been in the WWE. They basically, called him man boobs and don't understand the fascination with people going crazy for him. So I don't know. I like Walter. I like what he presents in the ring. To me, Ciampa was the freaking standout here. He was chiseled to the nines, jacked, and he brought back, the Blackheart Ciampa. He finally cut the curved hair.
You got the trunks back.
Yeah, but no, I mean this was Ciampa saying, "Hey, you guys better not forget my name. Put some respect on my name because I am that damn good." And to me, Ciampa needs to be back in the top of the picture.
Oh yeah,
that TV break segment had me tired. He was running,
we kept running back and forth.
Yeah.
So, but I was just that's the first time I heard anybody criticize Walter.
When first time the video of him, I wasn't impressed because it was just like chops. But then I actually watched the match and I'm like, okay, this guy's good.
Walter's consistent. That's one of the things that I like about him. He it's not like he comes out and one week does this thing, next week he does this thing. He is who he is. He's very consistent on his talent. And I'm not saying that he's going to go to the main roster and be this big star, because most likely he goes to the main roster and he becomes the next Vladimir Kozlov. But it's for where he's at, he's good. And I'm fine with where he's at. If he would move to NXT instead of NXT UK, I think he'd be fine there too. But anything outside of that, I don't know if that's really his wheelhouse.
And I think whoever he's in the ring with, he elevates him.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like he's obviously when he won the belt off of Dunn, that was a crazy match. Mania. That might have been match of the night on that takeover card. He's had battles with Tyler Bate that have been amazing.
Which was a hell of a match.
His match with Dragunov was incredible. Insane. And then you get him and Ciampa here, and it's like, all right, well, like you said, Chris, consistency is the thing with him, and in all those matches, he's been consistently good.
Yeah.
So I can see why people like him. It was just surprising to me that I heard two people that Mansouri worked with the WWE for 11 years, and a lot of that time was spent in NXT. And Madden was in WCW for 7 or 8 years. So like we're talking a combined almost 20 years in the business, and for them two to come out and say that, it just caught my eye a little bit. Like,
It depends on your taste too. I mean, if you like traditional hard hitting style wrestling, like that New Japan strong style, you're gonna like Walter. If you like lucha libre and things like that, you're probably not going to like him. It really depends on what you like in a wrestling match.
Walter is like I don't want to say a modern day Stan Hansen, but you're gonna wake up sore the next day after being in the ring with Walter.
Oh, absolutely.
Like he works stiff. Do a lot of guys work stiff? Maybe. And maybe that may be the fascination where you don't see, at least states wise, if you're not watching New Japan, like you don't see that stiff of a style. So when you see a guy that's in there that's, what's he, 6'6", 6'7", and he's laying big show chops on people, like it comes across as something different. It's something different in this day and age. There's not many guys that stand out. Walter stands out, so take that for what it is. But I agree with you. It is going to be a taste thing as far as what you like in your wrestling, whether or not you gravitate towards them or not. But so moving on, we get a vignette for the debut of Frankie Monet. Hate the name, love the name. For those of you that don't know, Frankie Monet is Taya Valkyrie. La Loca. Yes, no, thumbs up, thumbs down.
I wasn't over on the person or the name in general.
On the name.
I don't love the name.
That's a WWE name.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a meaning behind it or not, but yeah.
I'm okay with her doing a name change. Do I think she's a talent that needs a name change? No.
Mm-mm.
I think she's established enough and has the body of work from Mexico, from Lucha Underground, her time and Impact. I think her name has value enough that she can come in and be Taya Valkyrie. Now, whether or not that was them going to her saying we're going to change your name, or her wanting to change the name, so when or if she leaves, she can automatically go back to Taya Valkyrie and not have any issues with name rights and all that. That's business talk, contract talk. So
yeah, or if anybody else has a trademark on it too, that could be part of it.
Yeah. So we have that, and we have the MSK Grizzled Young Vets and Legado del Fantasma. Thoughts on this?
Going in, I think we all expected MSK to win.
Not my pick.
Not my pick. Me and Jay went with Grizzled Young Vets.
Not my pick.
Don had Legado.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's who I had too. That's who I wanted to win.
I'd have been fine with either one of those two. I mean, I don't mind that MSK is the champs. It just felt too early.
By the time the match, probably like towards the end of the match, whenever they were doing the outside stuff, whenever Legado kind of got out of the match on the outside of the ring, like after they hit the what's LOD's move?
Doomsday Device.
There we go. That's why we're all dumb marks. When they hit that on the outside, like by that point, I was just like, they better win this match tonight, because I felt like they really are the ones that delivered in that match.
I'm not mad that they won. I felt that them winning the Dusty Cup was a push enough.
Mm-hmm.
They came in. They didn't recognize what they did in the past. That's WWE's way. They're going to do that. But they established them throughout that run in the Dusty Cup, and them winning it, then okay, they're a team. Do I think they needed it? No. I would have been fine with the Grizzled Young Vets getting it and have them chase for a while. But
I agree with Donald. The Grizzled Young Vets really don't do much for me right now.
I'm not saying they do something for me either. I'm just thinking of story-wise, because okay, MSK wins, but now looking at the tag team division, who are you going to have go after them?
It's probably going to be the same three. Oh no, it's who won the pre-show? Was it Breezango or Drake and Maverick? I think they're next up.
Killian Dane and Maverick won. Maverick, they get a title shot next.
So
if Phantasma would have won, I thought you could have had a good story there with them being the heel champs and MSK chasing them. I kind of feel the same thing now that Phantasma can chase them. We'll get into
face.
They're not. No, I feel like they can be the heel tag team going after them, trying to chase for the belts, and because now it would make sense if they would get a title shot. Hey, Escobar's retained the title now. Try to just complete the trifecta with them all holding titles.
I think you with having Grizzled Young Vets lose, you've had them lose 2 years in a row in the finals in the Dusty Cup, and now they lose this tag team title match. All that says to me is that they aren't big enough. They're not big time to win it all.
Sounds like the perfect time to put them on the main roster.
When the chips are, when everything's all in and everything's on the table, and it's do or die, win or go home. They go home because they can't win the big match, and that's okay if you're a babyface, because that's a story that you can build to and overcome. But as a heel, that's not something that's going to make you strong or make you look any better. I just felt they had the most to lose out of being the team that lost this match. So I don't know what you plan on doing with them, if anything. I'm not a huge fan of them. They don't draw me in. But just looking at the three teams that are in that match and who stood the most to lose, I felt like it was them.
To me, they're like a hybrid tag team. They have like a little bit of everything. Like they're technical, they're high flyers. They have a little bit of everything, and I just love their tag ethic. working together.
Yeah, I mean they do work good together, but like if you're not going to put them over here, then send them back to NXT
Yeah,
UK and let them
Mhm.
go back for the belts there. Like
I think they're just in the spot that they're in. I think that they're a good hand to have when they're needed, and they can be put in anywhere, but they don't have that next level that they're going to put them in yet, if ever.
Good hand to be is not what you want to hear in the wrestling business.
No, but I mean it is what it is with them, I guess.
All right, and then to close out night one, we get the crowning of a new women's champion. I think Mansuri said on their podcast with him and Madden that she's had less than a year of TV time. All she's ever known is WWE. She came in with no experience.
Okay.
And she's only been on TV for about a year, but wrestling on TV wise, it's been under a year.
She's been wrestling for a while.
I think she's only been in the business like 3 years, but it's all been with WWE.
Because she was in the Mae Young Classic too, the first Mae Young Classic.
So she's all right.
3 years.
Yeah. So that would fit with the timeline.
In there, she looked like she had a little bit of experience.
I mean, I think it's the right call. Io held the belt as long as she had it. She ran through everybody. Like I said on the podcast last week, Raquel goes over, Io gets over. It's, Io's not hurt with this loss, and then she gets called up to the main roster. Do I want her to get called up to the main roster? No, because I don't think they're going to do anything with her.
Mm-mm.
So it's going to be another Kairi Sane type deal. Or Asuka, where Asuka just floated, like a buoy in the ocean for a better part of a year. But Raquel was obviously, I mean, she's the right choice. Let her win it. I think she turns into a babyface, though, and you have her and Dakota. I was expecting Dakota to come out and turn on her at the end. Because we didn't get that on
I hated
night.
it.
Wasn't hated, but wasn't expected.
We got no surprise at
No.
the end of either night.
No.
Which
I actually expected the surprise more at the end of night 2 than I did in night 1.
Like Raquel, wrestler is heel, but like interviews, she's not the same person.
That's why I said she's going to be a babyface now.
Okay.
I think so. I think she's gonna be a babyface. I agree with you, Jay. Everything about her, look wise, mannerism wise, the way she talks, like it to me, it just screams babyface.
Mm-hmm.
Can she be a dominant babyface? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make her like a tweener? I don't know. I mean, I guess it'll all depend on who she's in the ring working with.
Mm-hmm.
She reminds me a lot of Rhea. Same thing. Look and actions are heelish, but everything else, the fans loving you and everything else kind of comes off babyface.
But then you look at who's next. What would you say, Tony or Mercedes?
I wouldn't put Mercedes up there with her either. I mean, Mercedes experience wise, yes, because she's 20 plus years, so like, she could help her along. But I don't know if like, honestly, I don't think they have anybody right now.
No.
Like that.
Just the possible fallout between Dakota.
This is besides Dakota and her, Dakota turning and them two having a program right out the gate. I think this is the hard reset on the women's division, and you're going to start to see the buildup of new people. Whether it's Candice after her and Indy do their thing, whatever the case may be. But I think you're going to get your hard reset, and you'll see the dominoes line up differently to see the new pecking order now that she's champion and Io's presumably going up to the main roster.
I hope this strays away from long reigns. I'm kind of over long reigns.
For the women?
Yeah, especially for the women.
Especially for women.
It's kind of a recurring theme, too. Everyone is a dominant woman.
Mm-hmm.
It's like kind of the same formula over and over again with it.
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, it'll just depend on who they want to establish next and whether or not you have her. I mean, I think you let her get a decent run out of it. Do I need to have her as like a 8 or 9 month champion? No, but let her run. Summertime. I would say would be a legitimate first run. See how she handles it. See what she does.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll probably do another takeover in between now and SummerSlam, and then probably do a takeover around SummerSlam. And so if you give her till at least 2 pay-per-views, I'm okay with that.
All right. Any other thoughts on night 1 here? No. All right.
Nothing else that we covered. Yeah.
All right. Well, then let's jump into night 2. Unless you want to talk about AEW and the end of the Wednesday Night War and their show, since we're on Wednesday night.
Let's do that.
All right. So like I said, I didn't feel like TakeOver felt like it was a strong TakeOver. It felt just like a Wednesday night program to me. The minus those highlighted matches that we talked about and discussed. Dynamite for me was the same way. I felt like they should have had a better outing than what they did as far as show goes. I felt like the formatting for me on Wednesday night just didn't work. Everything was too smashed together. They didn't let anything breathe on Wednesday night. It was just literally, it was bang, 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 one after the other, whether it was match, talking segment, interview, whatever, vignette backstage. Like, it was just bang, 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 bang. And I didn't get a chance to digest anything that happened because they were already into the next thing. And sometimes they get into that problem.
Yeah. And then one of the weird things that I didn't like either, and I agree with everything that you just said, but like you have Jericho and the Inner Circle come out, and then they cut to commercial break before they cut their promo. See, I think that takes away.
I didn't mind that because of. So to me, that was one aspect where they showed counter programming to what NXT was doing and where NXT was at. Jericho out there basically covered almost the entire time of the gauntlet match. So what are you going to, if you're flipping, if you're channel surfing, if you're on the clicker back and forth, are you going to stay and listen to Jericho cut a promo, or are you going to watch the gauntlet match? To me, if it's me and I'm channel surfing, I'm going to stay on Jericho and hear what he has to say instead of watching the gauntlet match.
No.
So that was the one time where I saw that, like, okay, they specifically put it here and set it up that way. And yeah, you had them come out, they do his singing, his intro, then he does the tease for what he has to say after the break. So they bring him out, they keep you there, you're going to stay because of the tease, and then you ride out that promo, which I know, Jay, I don't this is where we're going to have disagreement. To me, that's
I'm just going to sit back and let you two discuss.
It's one of the best promos cut. Start
out as gas bag Jericho. It picked up at the end when he started running down people. I was like, okay.
But I mean, to me, he did that all the way through. He ran down people.
You know how many times I tired of hearing my jerk off friend.
But that's getting over. So whenever MJF comes out, what are you going to hear chanted? My jerk off friend. That's no different than Austin walking out and doing what, and then next thing you know, everybody in the crowd is what. It's planting the seed. It's getting fans to react.
You can plant the seed like twice maybe. He was dropping left and right.
Go back and listen to an Austin promo and count how many times they say what.
Who, the fans? That's the fans.
Okay, but if you're establishing something that you're going to get the fans to say, and you want them to be preconditioned to say it whenever you have that individual come out.
How many times did The Rock have to say Fruity Pebble? Once.
No.
Once.
No.
And it was over.
I agree with you, Jason. I thought it was funny the first time it happened, and then by like the third or fourth time he said, just like, okay.
Yeah, like the
I'm
repetitive.
over with. Yeah.
But I can't take too much of Jericho.
He's one of the greatest of all time.
10 minutes. I think I
10 minute promo.
There's not with Bad Bunny, man.
Nate,
Don't even.
you're out of your mind.
We're saving that for tomorrow.
That's a straight troll job on your end. That's
what
not
this is for.
Serious. That's you being a troll. How many people can go out there and cut a 10-minute promo?
I think Roman just did it.
Romans was not 10 minutes.
Close to.
And Roman stumbled over it. We're not. This isn't.
Roman stumbled. Jericho stumbled.
There's no way. There's no way that Roman's promo to end SmackDown tonight. Paul Roma, yes, I'm Roman's promo to end tonight's SmackDown doesn't even sniff anything Jericho did on Wednesday night. Not even close. If we can put it on a poll, it doesn't even hold a candle to it.
Of course, everybody will say Jericho
because it's a better promo.
Once he got to running people down, it was decent. Everything before that was gas bag Jericho.
All right, moving on. This dude is unbelievable.
That's why he's WWE Jason.
If he comes out and cuts that in a WWE ring, you're over there like with lotion and tissues because it's the greatest thing ever.
Oh, I don't care for Jericho. I ain't like Jericho since he wore a suit. That's the last time I like Jericho.
Oh, you love the list.
I did not. The list was stupid. I like the pin click.
Like the what?
The pin click. That's it. I didn't care for the list, Jericho. He talked too damn much.
Wow. All right.
I hate Jericho on commentary.
I can't co-sign that one.
I hate Jericho on commentary. I'll take Cole. And this is not a troll job. I'll take Cole over Jericho. Yes. I don't care
He's
Jericho.
Frozen. Screen grab Chris. He's frozen. Screen grab him.
I ain't frozen. That was
me. Note the date and time. I'll take Cole over Jericho on commentary. That's how much I don't like Jericho talking.
What you drinking over there?
Some of the other things from Dynamite that
Let's go into the other promo.
Brett, which one? Because there were a couple on Dynamite.
I mean, I think the one that we all enjoyed was Brett.
Brett's promo was great.
Yeah, it was
absolutely great. Now, Jay, here we go. Right, time and time again, right, about rankings and everything else. I 100% agree with everything that she said.
Thanks to Pittsburgh's own Dr. Britt Baker for tuning into the Dumb Marks podcast.
She ran it down.
It took Britt Baker for you to agree with me.
No, I didn't say I agree with you. I didn't say I agree with you. I said I agreed with what she says. She did it in a way to where she did it to a way to where it's like, all right, it's a political game, right? Mm-hmm. This doesn't mean shit. It never did, whatever the case may be. So I'll play your stupid little game. I'll go on Elevation and win and beat people there. I'll go on Dark and beat people there. I'll go on Dynamite and beat people there. And I'll climb up your silly little ladder until you give me what is already mine. And that's a shot at the belt. And for that, I'm all for it. That's basically what she said with that promo. And I'm good with that. So let her do that and run it. She needs to be in the title match at Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
It's just that's it. That's where we're going with this. And if she's not, then I don't know what you're waiting on to pull the trigger.
Yeah. So tonight was their house show of The House Always Wins. And apparently she came out and cut a similar promo. So this is going to be a recurring theme about her coming out and discussing the ranking system and everything. So, and I'm cool with that.
No, I'm good. It was Britt being Brit, and I'm good with that. Red Velvet's promo didn't understand her logic at all in it, because what she said made no sense. Like your fascination with me is because you barely got the job done, but she beat you. So
yeah.
I didn't understand that logic at all. Taz and Team Taz and the just get it over with already.
Yeah, it's getting silly. It's getting real silly now.
I'm coming to think of it, there's a whole lot of talking shit.
I don't mind him extending the invite to Christian. I like their little back and forth, and then that can set up. I want to see Christian and Ricky Starks go.
Yeah.
To me, I think that's a match that I think will be really good, and
that's got to be the match.
And Ricky Starks go over.
Have Christian elevate some people, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I want to see that go. I can care less about their in-house bickering and whatever the case may be. What else?
Archer and Sting.
Archer and Sting.
Yeah.
Archer and Sting. So we've said this before numerous times. You have to do something different with Sting. Just walking him out every week, having Shivani yell, "It's Sting!" And then Sting come out, whatever, he leaves. Okay, great. I like what they did here. It was different. Archer comes out, takes the mic, this and that, rattles off a whole bunch of stuff about his start, stop. And Sting, I agree with you 100%. You're a main event guy. Jake, show him the way. What are you doing? Get him to be right. So it's different. I'm okay with that. If Sting is going to be the Tony Robbins of AEW, where he's motivational speaking to everybody and pushing wrestlers that should be pushed and getting them to live up to their potential, I'm okay with Sting being in that role. Let Sting do that. Have him have a couple matches here and there, but other than that, let him build up people by interacting with them and getting a rub. I'm cool with that. Don't know where it goes, if anything. But, I mean, I like that they did something different on Wednesday night with that particular interview segment.
I agree. I'm glad it was different. Still didn't do much for me. Like, to me, it still felt like more of the same. It was a different promo. It still felt very familiar. And then, of course, the next segment, Sting comes out with Darby again.
Yeah, runs off. Yeah. And then the Factories promo. So I don't mind the promo that QT cut, right? Like it makes a lot of sense. I like how he took some shots at Cody in his WWE run. I like how he took Cody saying "do the work" and added "for me," because it's everybody else doing the work for Cody, but he's getting all the limelight. So I like what he said. It's just that it's QT saying it, so it doesn't have the same impact as somebody else, which is a shame because, like I said, I liked what he said. It made a ton of sense. Like, okay, I buy in why you did what you did, absolutely, but it's like you with those three guys, and I like what he said about each of them.
Somebody's boyfriend,
but it
makes sense. Yeah,
it was logical. You know what I mean? Everything he said was logical. It's just that he was the one saying it, so it didn't have. It wasn't a 10 out of 10 as far as connection and getting it. Like,
it didn't have the weight behind it.
Right, it didn't have the weight behind it. I don't know who else could have said that where it would have, but for me, it just that's what it was. And then the way they cut, the way they edited in Anthony Ogogo's promo. Just was the shits.
Yeah.
You Yanks. Like, come on, man.
No, it wasn't what he said. It was how they cut to him starting and stopping. It was like they had to redo it a couple times to get it perfect, and then they just plugged it in.
He starts and then talks, and then right afterwards he's like stone still.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. It didn't. It was not a natural flow at all. So, I mean, he came out tonight and attacked Cody after Cody beat Aaron Solo. So, I think that, if you're using QT to eventually build up Anthony Ogogo, and it's Cody and Ogogo that are the main two that battle out of this, I'm okay with that. A lot of people don't know about Anthony Ogogo because he's from the UK, but Google him and look him up. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. Dude's he's a bad man. All right, he's a legit boxer. Champion. He can go. He's from boxing, so not like he's a McGregor type as far as talking, but he's legit. So I think he's going to be the one that you elevate up out of this to be the star of that group. And then lastly,
do we have to have like factions of just one star coming out of it? Like, do we need this many factions and just one here, one here?
Look, that's a gripe where everybody's like, AEW's full of factions. That's all they are. It's nothing but gangs, this and that. You have the Young Bucks.
You hate today, yes.
You have the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, who are 3 of your EVPs. Where did they spend the most time in their careers? New Japan. What does New Japan have? Factions. It's a completely different style from what we see in the States.
I like factions. Don't get me wrong. Like,
but that's all there is. That's all there is in New Japan. Yeah. It's factions. That's all there is. It's just a different presentation, and people have to just, not that you have to accept it, but like you have to know going in, like this is the way that they're going to present their program. They're going to have factions. You're going to have teams and everything else. What I think will help out the factions, you got to bring in a trios titles. At some point, you have to. You can't have this. You can't have this many factions.
Like, I don't like the trios title. Like in any company, I don't need it. It does seem like it's coming. Like I don't think we can stop it at this point. It's going to happen, but it's especially in AEW. It's not. You have tag team titles. Just do tag teams. You have enough people. You don't need to keep making trios whenever you're tag team heavy.
I mean, I don't. You just, like I said, it's a different way that it's a different way that the wrestlers themselves are being presented, which I think people don't understand because they've never seen it before as a mainstay in the States. It's the way New Japan has always done things. So,
if you only watch WWE, I can understand that. But if you watch a mix of other stuff, Ring of Honor's had the trios title.
But I'm just talking about not necessarily the trios title, but just factions in general.
Yeah.
Like it's what they did in New Japan. So like they're gonna take that and apply it to what they want the company to look like, But before I get into the main event, the Death Triangle and Best Friend segment was just garbage.
That was terrible.
Absolutely terrible.
And we picked up an alien on our way.
That's how we introduce her into the group.
Yeah.
That's her initiation.
I hated it. I didn't like it. I don't want to see those 6 guys go at it. Like, I don't need it.
I swear AEW the most obscure matches. Like we fought in the bingo hall in high school. We're going to start a feud back up. Well, that's what every match feels like.
What have I said for weeks now that I just want to see a group get a woman involved too? And it's like, and that's what I got. That was my wish list item.
But I like Statlander. Like I like her a lot. I think she's going to be good. It's just like, all right.
I really have no problem with that group. The only person I don't like in that group is Chuck Taylor. Everybody else I like. I think they're talented, but
I just don't. And it's like, why? Like, so you're going to rush the title match for Pac and Phoenix to have them face the Young Bucks next week, and then – they're going to lose, obviously, and then they're going to go into a program with Best Friends. Like, I don't. I don't get it.
I really have no problem with that group. The only person I don't like in that group is Chuck Taylor. Everybody else I like. I think they're talented, but
I just don't. And it's like, why? Like, so, so you're going to rush the title match for Pac and Phoenix to have them face the Young Bucks next week, and then they're going to go into a program with Best Friends.
which it's going to be a good match, but you're going into next week unopposed for the first time, and you don't necessarily need to have a strong card, like something that's hitting on all cylinders.
No,
but
I think
it seems like next week that's what they're doing.
I disagree. I think you need to have a stat card next week because this is your chance to grab more viewers. You have to grab more viewers. You're unopposed. WWE diehards are going to watch WWE, and that's all they're going to watch. They will never tune into Impact, or they'll never tune into Dynamite. They won't care. It's something that doesn't even matter.
Look, I only watched the promos last night, but I watched AEW.
But for those people that tune in casually or whatever the case may be, or have flip flop back and forth on shows, like you have to come out and hit a home run next week to pick up whatever leftover audience there is and roll that into your ratings each week. If they don't do close to 1 million each week unopposed, something's wrong. They need to have a significant jump. They can't be in the 6s and 7s unopposed. They need to be closer to high 8s, 9s, 1 million, over 1 million.
They do what? Like it's been steady 1.4 million total combined, between the two shows for a few weeks now. So I'm not saying each show needs to do 1.4, but I agree it needs to be close to that 1 million mark, each week in order for this to be like, yep, to work, yeah.
And then the main event, it was predictable from the get-go. It was a 4-month program that they jammed into 3 weeks. You could have rode this out so much longer.
Mm-hmm.
But in 2 weeks, you've hot-shotted this thing, and you have the Bucks turn on Moxley last night or on Wednesday night. It was too predictable. I'm over the Bucks. They're so wishy-washy as characters. Somebody tweeted out they're like teenagers that are constantly looking for themselves, but they never find out who they actually are.
They're the tag team Big Show.
You've been in the wrestling business for how long? Like, what are your your characters should be established by now. Like, if you're gonna be heel, be heel. If you're gonna be baby, be baby. Like, there's
no need for this whenever you're running the company.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You don't have creative to blame on this one.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for me. It just doesn't. Like, I'm over it. You know what I mean?
I'm so over the feud and everything. Good brothers, this and that. I mean, I'm still okay with Kenny, but like everything else around it is like, I'm tired.
This I don't need any more fluctuation from them. You did the turn. You're now bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
Stick to it. Do not give me this back and forth. We're still looking to find ourselves because that's all you've been giving me, and it sucks. So
I would have rather seen Kenny be the collector by himself for a bit, and then maybe if he had a match that it was a little too close to call, then maybe he needed some protection and brought somebody in.
They lost on Impact last night. So Swan, Willie Mack, and Eddie Edwards beat Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers on Impact last night.
Okay.
So I don't know
who got the pin on that.
I don't remember. Omega didn't get pinned, obviously, but
Carl Anderson.
It's probably Machine Gun.
Probably Carl. But no, I mean, I don't need it. So, all right, enough with the Wednesday Night Wars. We've put
Iron
that to bed. What's that?
Iron Mike.
I like what they did with Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I did. I felt it was good. To me, having Tyson come out when he did, and him and Jericho shake hands and have a hug, to me that completed the babyface turn of Inner Circle. It started with Jericho and them coming out. They got their revenge beat down on the Pinnacle. Then they come out and cut the promo, and then Tyson comes out, does his thing, and they hug it out. To me, that was like Inner Circle. Okay, complete babyface now. That completed the turn for me.
Do you think?
They were complete baby faces when they came out the right side of the tunnel. for the promo. So that was in the mark right there. Once they came out that tunnel,
I was not letting that. I was not letting that little minutia of a detail tell me that they were baby faces. I wasn't buying it.
Because did you see the cameraman? The cameraman looked to the left first, and then he hurried up and switched to the right when they were coming out.
I didn't notice that.
And that right there was like up baby faces.
Now,
but no,
do you see Iron Mike sticking with them with Inner Circle? You know, just because of their relationship, or do you see Mike being Mike and turning on them to go with the Pinnacle?
Well, I mean,
I hope they don't go that route.
I hope they don't either. Jericho planted the seed in his promo that MJF has always been one step ahead of them. So, that would be a little foreshadowing there. But no, you'll have Mike Tyson be the enforcer next week for the tag team match that they announced. And then, if it leads to him turning on them at Blood and Guts, but I don't, you know what I mean? Okay. So you have Tyson do the turn on Inner Circle, align himself with Pinnacle, and then at Double or Nothing, you get Tyson and Jericho.
What are the odds that Vander Holyfield shows up?
Stop.
You're such a troll.
Stop.
You're such a troll.
Stop. So we're gonna call Malone Dennis Rodman next.
You're not gonna promote that. Ain't that the next matchup?
Stop it. Stop. It is, but stop.
Don't. I like what
happens. You heard it here first.
Tyson was good. Tyson was good on Wednesday. We'll see what they do next Wednesday. If a swerve is coming, then it's going to lead to Tyson and Jericho at Double or Nothing, which maybe that's the I'm okay with that too. Like that's fine as you're out of the box, you're outside attraction match. Like I'm okay with that, but no, I think
when we had previously talked about the Blood and Guts match before it was officially announced, I think everybody was kind of okay with it being on TV instead of pay-per-view. Do you still feel that way? Because I still feel the way I felt, where this should have been a pay-per-view match. This shouldn't be given on Dynamite. This should be, this should be. You're that close to Double or Nothing. You're weeks away, literally. That it should be safe for the pay-per-view.
I think they don't want to take away from. Like, if you put that match on Double or Nothing, obviously that's your main event. That match goes on last and everything else. Like, I think they're doing it because they don't want to take away from whatever they have planned as far as main event goes for Double or Nothing.
We'll have to wait and see what that card is.
Yeah. So. And like you said, if you're going to do a swerve where Tyson aligns himself and that leads to Tyson and Jericho, you have it go down on Wednesday night where you get more people, you have more eyes on it. And then, that will lead to more buys for your pay-per-view. So, I can see both sides of the coin there. Like, I agree with you. Should it be a pay-per-view? Yes. But the flip side, if you're using it to set up something for the pay-per-view to get more eyes on it and have it lead to more buys, which generate more revenue, then I'm fine with setting it up on the 5th, and you have a month to build to the pay-per-view.
It's just whenever they were thinking about doing it in 2020, I was cool with that because it was going to be in New York City. That was the whole point of the match. It was just to give it an attraction for that event, and that was fine. Just being that close to a pay-per-view, like this is just something that AEW is consistently doing now, and that's one of the things that I don't like that they keep doing is giving you pay-per-view quality Dynamite so close to a pay-per-view.
And if they, the one thing I will say with these specials and even their pay-per-views, the one thing from NXT, and we'll get ready to jump into night 2 here, but one thing from TakeOver that I did like is that the setup and the presentation of the CWC felt different than a regular Wednesday night. That AEW falls into where regardless if it's a pay-per-view or a special, like everything looks the same. They don't make any changes to the look. So like if you're gonna give me a special on May 5th with it being blood and guts, then like let's change up the stage, let's change up the set, let's change up the way the ring looks. Like let's do something to make it stand out so that you know, oh, this is a special night, this is a big deal. Don't just have it look like a regular old Dynamite, which all their shows now are just consistently looking the same.
Yeah.
Unless it's the big home, go show promotion, whatever that's
And
called.
it's like the banners around the ring.
That big go show.
Yeah, like
Revolution brought the LED stage out. That was about like the only change for that event.
Yeah. So, all right, night 2 takeover. Let's get into it. Hits, misses.
On night 2, to me, it felt underwhelming. It really did.
Kind of agree.
I didn't watch the pre-show match because they didn't advertise it. I didn't even know there was a pre-show for night 2. I only knew about night 1.
That was the Drake and
Brizongo.
Yeah.
Ladder match I thought was a great way to start off the night. You know,
that wasn't
the best ladder match I've ever watched, but it was a good match. It was a solid.
It was good.
Yeah. So, a couple of things for me just before we break down the matches. I think they made the right call with putting Cole and O'Reilly on last. I think the story and the build that was the main event. Like, that should have went last. There was no other call to make besides having that one go last. I like that they opened with the ladder match. I felt that was a good way to establish the tone for the night.
Mm-hmm.
It established the tone for the night, but not in a good way, because to me it felt it was underwhelming. Did they have a decent match? Yes. Was it what I expected from them two in a ladder match? No, not at all.
I agree.
Not at all.
I did expect more.
And the finish, I'm not mad with the spots that they did with the ladder. Like it wasn't an over spot fest. They had decent moments and decent spots, but come on, man, that headbutt is not going to send you flying across the ring through the ladder.
He did oversell that.
He did. I like the spot, but I agree it was an oversell.
I like the callback because Devlin busted him with the headbutt. I like the callback to that, and that being a creative way to get him off the ladder. But not when he's a super soldier from Falcon and Winter Soldier, where he headbutts you fly 20 feet across the ring.
Remember, he used to have the metal thing in the mask. Maybe then I'd agree with that if he wore the mask.
And the way Devlin went through the ladder, I thought he was seriously injured because that bump was nasty.
Yeah.
I like when they cut back to him and his neck was like,
but the way he hit, like it looked like his neck caught the rung directly on it, and I was like, legitimately for a couple seconds, I looked at it like, they really need to get a doctor out there and look at him immediately. Like, it just didn't look good at all. So yeah, I mean, did the right guy win?
Yes.
I feel Escobar was the right choice there. No. Let Devlin go back over to NXT UK and start up stuff over there. I'm fine with that. And Chris, you said they're getting ready to bring in a new belt anyway. So
yeah,
keeping the cruiserweight title here and having that be on the the NXT homegrown show. I'm okay with that.
And while he's going back to NXT UK, take the Grizzly Young Vets with you.
Stop it.
Please.
Whatever NXT first started on Wednesday nights, they were using a lot of UK talent. So I'll be interested to see if these guys are heading back to the UK now that Mania is over, or if they're still going to be sticking around to kind of round out talent on Tuesday nights.
So we had the ladder match, and then we had the women's tag team title match.
I was invested just because it's the women.
Shotzi Blackheart is gonna seriously hurt.
One day.
I swear to God, time slowed down. I felt like Doctor Strange, right? I'm watching it. I see the setup coming, and I'm like, don't do the dive. Don't do the dive. Don't do the dive. And then Ember walks over and Holt opens her up, and I'm like, oh my God, she's going to go do the dive. She's going to go do the dive. And then she did the dive.
Uprights.
She did the dive, completely overshot both Indy and Candice. And I don't know if it was natural instinct or what, but she managed to do that freaking flip at the end that's literally saved her from possibly ending her career. She barely got away with that one. And that's a factor that you say every single time Shotzi gets in the ring, and it's, as a fan, it's not good that I'm holding my breath every time she's in the ring because I'm afraid she's going to seriously hurt herself.
Well, then again, you got Indy and Candice LeRae.
Yeah.
You either got to hit
It was a height
Indy or
difference,
and Indy was just like,
Indy caught her as well as she no-sold the Nerf gun shot the week before on NXT.
I might say something controversial here. Shotzi doesn't do anything for me at all.
no.
No,
She does these spots, but it's nothing that I can't see from somebody else in a way. Like, I don't know. Like, I felt by now like I might be more invested in her than what I am, and it just.
What the hell was Ember Moon wearing whenever she came out on the tank? What was that?
She was wearing the story of Zero. What's my man?
She looked like a K-Mod version of a Master Splinter costume one of us got for Halloween when we were kids.
She does love cosplay, so I mean, it makes sense.
I have no idea who that was supposed to be. I don't. And forgive me if that was supposed to be somebody that means something, but like.
No, I think she just got those weird ass masks.
Yeah.
Let me try this one.
I'm okay with them two winning. And keeping the belts, that's fine. Like I said, I think NXT. We said this I said it on the pod last week. I think the women's division in NXT is strong enough to where you can have a tag team division and get legitimate storylines out of it. More women on the show, because that's they by far have the strongest division out of the three shows.
Your comment last week that I really liked and I think is possible is that they have the advantage over the main roster of developing talents at the PC and bring them in as tag teams instead of having to just shove two singles wrestlers together and calling them a tag team.
Yeah.
Right.
And that could be the benefit for NXT. I agree.
All right, and then we have Bronson Reed and Gargano for the North American Championship. I mean, Austin Theory plays a really good dunce, doesn't he? Like,
yeah.
He reminds me of like Adam Sandler's character in the movie Airheads with Brandon Fraser and that from Steve Buscemi from way back in the day. Like Adam Sandler, like that's if you want to go see like who Austin Theory is, the character he portrays, go pull up and watch some clips from Adam Sandler and Airheads, because that's Austin Theory. Mm-hmm. But he plays it so well, and them two, the dynamic really works. You know, for everything that was said about Austin Theory, and you know, there was some Me Too stuff and everything else. I like how he fits in with Candice, Johnny, and like those four together work really well together. They're probably the most entertaining thing on NXT right now.
It was a random group coming together, but it's working out.
Very random.
Gargano wins surprisingly on a takeover because Johnny Takeover normally loses.
Johnny participation.
Right call.
Once they said Reed, I knew he was winning.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. The right call for him to retain.
I think it was the right call. I really thought we were going to get Loomis in that spot and not Reed, just based off of the story that they've been telling. So it's like
it made the most sense.
I don't know.
Another feud with Knight.
Yeah, so it's like why?
Yeah,
like
that's odd.
they spun off from it there, and it's like I don't know why you veered off. Especially if you're not going to put Bronson over. Like, if you did all this work to build up Bronson, then I would have thought that it would have culminated with him winning, because then he's established because he won the belt. So now it's like, all right, you killed the long-term story that you've been telling with Johnny, The Way, and Loomis, to have him feud with LA Knight, who Bronson Reed was feuding with before the gauntlet started. Like, it's just, I don't get it at all.
You still get Rough and Swerve.
When is that going to end?
Oh, back to night one. I was telling Jason this the other day. I was like, when Cameron and Swerve was beating up Ruff, I was like, where did the money come from? I just see dollar bills. I mean, not dollar bills, but hundreds all over Ruff. I was like, where the heck that come from? I blinked and it was like, okay.
Swerve pulled that stack out that Grimes gave him and threw it on him while he was laying in the corner.
I was like, look at this.
Yeah. Yeah, so story wise, that like I don't know where they're going with the North American now. Like, I have no idea. Natural progression, they didn't do what I thought they would based off of the stories that they've been telling on the shows leading up to the card. So that is what it is there. Next match, Cross and Balor.
Legit fell asleep. Legit.
This was the match for me that felt super underwhelming. Yeah. I thought it was going to be a lot better than what it was, and it was bad to me. Very bad.
I disagree. I liked it.
You liked it?
I did.
To me, the show went like this. This is how the show went.
Cross is another one that doesn't do much for me.
No.
See, I'm a huge Cross. I'm a huge Cross mark. I like Cross. I love Cross.
Hot cross buns.
They had a legit slugfest, and it was different from what Balor normally does, which is why I think I liked it, because it was different from what Balor normally does. He didn't shy away from standing there and going toe to toe with Cross, which could have been why he lost, because you fought the man in his style of match, and you lost. So Cross was the right choice here. I agree. He didn't lose the belt, obviously, with the shoulder injury. Going back, he did the Saito-plex off the top rope, and Keith Lee landed on his shoulder, which is how he busted it up. And whenever he won the belt, if you were on Twitter, if you were on Twitter and you were tweeting along with the show on Twitter, they had a watch along going. And at one point in time, instead of being in the latest part of the chat, tweeting along with everybody, I was in the whatever other section it was, and the watch along was up on top. And who's on the watch along? Keith Lee. And it was just like, you haven't been seen or heard from on main roster programming since February, and here you are on NXT TakeOver doing a watch along. It was him and I think it was him and Drew were talking while I forget what match was going on, but they had them two on, and then Samoa Joe was on when Cross and Balor were on, and right after Cross and Balor, Samoa Joe was on. And how about Samoa Joe? That to me was the best part of those two nights, was Samoa Joe with his interviews. Yeah, on both nights.
But I've never been a Samoa Joe wrestling fan, but I've really enjoyed him as a commentator.
He does it.
Yeah.
See, I like Joe. For me, is another one. I'll take Joe any way I can get him. I want one more run out of Joe. I want it. Whether it's an
was
NXT,
he injured? Like, is there issue why he hasn't?
He's been injured. I think it was some concussions. I know he had a thumb injury where he had surgery and that, so he was out for a while with that, and then came back and got a couple concussions and that, and it's kind of why they moved him into commentary. If we don't get one more run, it is what it is. But I think he was the best part of TakeOver. The way he interviewed, the questions he asked. I wanted to see him and Cross after them two got done. I'm like, oh, sign me up now. Give me that. Give me that. Have Joe come back and let Joe run with Cross.
I'd be okay
that.
if they put Joe on the commentary desk of NXT.
I need to get rid of Vic Joseph. He's
man.
He's terrible.
I'm about to say Adam Cole Jr. Michael Cole Jr. My God.
The problem with commentary, and it's on all three shows, whether it's Raw, SmackDown, or NXT. The main issue that I see with commentary,
Michael Cole trains them all.
Not only that, but
the 3-man.
They don't add anything to the match. They just say buzzwords.
Mm-hmm.
They just say buzzwords. That's it. That's all it is. And it's like you're not adding anything. You're not telling the story.
I like Wade.
Wade is great because
Wade gives you his perspective from his time and all that stuff.
And Wade is comedically great with dropping one-liners in.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time I watch NXT, there's at least 2 or 3 times where he says a line or two, where like the other, what was it, last week or 2 weeks ago, where Grimes was trying to pay off somebody or whatever, and all the money came out and everything else, and like it was like a minute or two later, and you just hear Wade shout out, "I just made $3,000," and it was like great because it was like he's out there collecting up hundreds. Like,
I think that's the one role for all 3 brands. You know, you got Joe on SmackDown, you got Joe on Raw, Corey on SmackDown, and you got Wade on NXT. All 3 of them do their job well.
Yeah,
I like Beth. I like Beth.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with Beth.
He gives her input. Yeah,
but yeah, I think Cole has been around way too long. Todd Phillips does nothing for me.
No.
Byron Saxton does nothing for me, and Vic Joseph does nothing for me. You know,
Nikki did the pre-show night 1. So maybe
I thought she did. I think she may have did the pre-show night 2 whenever I kind of tuned in. Okay. I didn't see that, but I think that it was her doing the announcing for it again.
And then so we're all good with Cross winning. Whether or not you like the match doesn't matter. But as far as who won the match, you're okay with that?
Yeah.
No, but
Finn did his job with the title.
Yeah.
Everybody was hurt and during the COVID and all that stuff. Yeah, he did his job.
And
I wanted to see him. I wanted to see Finn Walter as champion versus champion.
That's what didn't get.
Yeah.
And Finn has said in interviews recently, this run in NXT wasn't supposed to be this long.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I agree with you, Don. He came in, he did what he did, he took the belt, he ran with it, and it is what it is. So
I was going to bring up that point too. So, is this it for him then? Is he done now? Like, do we send him back to the main roster? Does he continue on NXT?
No, God, no, don't put him on the main roster. You kill everything that he's built up since he's been back in NXT.
Because the way that he seemed to talk is that, that was the goal. He was supposed to come down for a few months, do his thing, and then he was supposed to go back to the main roster. So
I would like to see him go over to NXT UK. If Walter
put him in UK. Yeah. Absolutely. I'd rather see him go over there. Because he can help build up people on that brand.
Mm-hmm.
And if they wait to do that whenever fans go back in over the UK, they'll eat that shit up.
Oh, they will. Mm-hmm. Oh, they would for sure.
As much as the fans here loved it,
him and Walter for the NXT UK title in Ireland is like that's like the UFC having McGregor headline a pay-per-view in Ireland. It'll be off the charts over there.
Speaking of which, that right now that pay-per-view is still supposed to be on June 20th, and now they've added Backlash on June 20th. So more than likely that Dublin is probably going to get moved again.
Which isn't surprising given everything that they got going on over there with COVID. So we'll have to see for that. All right, let's get into the main event. Cole O'Reilly, unsanctioned match. Thoughts, feelings?
When that match ended, I sat there and thought, I was like, how long was that match? Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way at all. I was like, that match had to have gone close to an hour. And whenever I saw it was only 40 minutes, I was really surprised. Because it felt like that went a good 45, 50 or more. I enjoyed it. It was definitely the match of the night for me on night 2.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. But it just seems with like the weapons and everything, since AEW been doing like a lot of weapons and stuff lately, I'm starting to get like tired of that type of match. So it was wearing on me a bit, but I did enjoy the match.
I think two things for me. One, I would have liked to have seen it not in the CWC. It was unsanctioned.
That's kind of how I was feeling like the last one.
Like how you had Ciampa and Gargano with their off-site match. Like I would have liked to have seen it somewhere else.
But then again, you got fans.
I get why they did what they did. Just personally speaking, like you know. And then the second thing was, Chris, you brought up the length, and that there were plenty of spots in that match where it was like, all right, that's it, that's the end.
Yeah.
X is winning or Y is winning. And then they just continued to go on. And then it was like after another 10 minutes, another spot happened where it was like, all right, let's go, wrap it up. This it. And then another 10 minutes. Like, to me, there was so many points in the match where it should have ended and they continued to go. Yeah. And I feel like that's why it felt like it was an hour long and not 35, 40 minutes. The ending, like, I get the chain wrapped around the knee. Like, I get that. And they were building the chain up throughout the match. And O'Reilly was setting it up while, he was wrapping around his arms. He wrapped it around him whenever he put him in the triangle choke. Like, I get the story they were telling with it. But to me, that wasn't the thing that should have won the match when you looked at different spots that happened in the match. So, okay, I'm going to jump off the top rope with a chain wrapped around my knee pad and take you out. But you brainbustering me on the steps again didn't do it.
But also on the chair, too. I think it was the combination.
Yeah, he crawled up on.
That was a weird part.
It was so cool.
It was not where I was supposed to be for this segment.
It was so choreographed. Like, but I'm saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, you brainbust him on the steps after you did that to take him out, and that doesn't end it. You drive him through the perfectly rectangular cutout of the stage.
That's the stage. That's how it's built.
No, if you look at the shots that they used, you clearly see the cutout section that they're supposed to dive through. I hate the way they shot that. Because it took away from it. Like when Taz and Bam Bam Bigelow went through the stage, you didn't see the cutout. It wasn't shot that way. It wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, you didn't see that. The way that they shot it, and it was when he first went through it, you didn't see because they had it from the back looking straight at him, right? But when they showed the replays, it was on the angle from the side, and you clearly see the cutout, and it's like, okay, well, you're taking away from my suspension of disbelief. Like, I'm like, holy shit, that's crazy. And then 2 seconds later, you show me the replay with the freaking cutout, and it's like, oh, well, that just ruined everything for it.
It was like that all night, like with the chop through the
the Walter thing,
or the refs hanging onto the ladder for dear life. Your camera was killing me.
That was bad. That was bad.
The
refs on the ladders was bad. Like, yeah.
I mean, I get it, but you don't show your tricks.
Right. Yeah. No. Exactly. Don't.
Kind of like at the very end, whenever the ref was standing right behind O'Reilly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna keep the camera on you for a couple more seconds.
Yeah. You go back and do something else cold.
And then after they went through the thing, don't pull them out the hole or anything. No, let's just kick the side of it and just come on out.
Yeah, it was.
Wait to a stage.
The stage was a tearaway like Garza's pants in the Andre the Bottle Royal Rumble tonight.
And can we please get rid of the toolbox from under the ring?
That's what this is for. This is main roster right here.
The toolbox gotta go. I'm in agreement with you there.
Don't bring out pliers.
There was nothing good. I thought he was trying to
the tire iron ended up with
Yeah.
an open spot, but don't bring
When
out
he pulled out the pliers, I thought he was kind of going off a Brit off of that one, trying to use the to get the teeth.
I thought he was Isaac Yankum there for a second.
I thought he was going to take like the turnbuckle off or something.
we're going for the mouth.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you have Cole do the stretcher job and everything else, so like he has to go to the main roster now, right?
I don't think he's built
Like
for
there's no way you keep him on NXT, right?
He's gonna go with everybody. He gonna go with everybody else at NXT UK. That's where we're shipping everybody off.
I didn't
So Triple
realize
H said on the media call
that he was so small. Like,
yeah,
Oh yeah,
he is tiny.
Steven Richards small.
Triple H said on the media call after TakeOver that the people were asking, so is this it for Cole? Is he gone completely? Is he going to the main roster? Or what's going on? And Triple H basically said you have to tune in this Tuesday to find out. Your answer will be not just to get you in. He said you will have the answer to that question on Tuesday.
I just don't see what's left for him in NXT.
No.
You lost to O'Reilly in a blood feud that spans the entire history of your run in NXT. You've won the championship twice. You're the longest reigning NXT champion of all time. You were the first North American champion. Like, you've been tag team champion. Like, there's nothing left for him to do there. As much as I don't want to see him go to the main roster because Vince is going to shit all over him because he's a 5'10",
205 Live.
I just
where did he go to? Raw or SmackDown? If he did go up,
He'd go to Raw, but he would need to go on. For me, it would have to be SmackDown to be used properly.
And why did he have to give up the entrance music?
oh, both of their theme music was bad.
Both of the music was trash. I didn't like either one of their themes. I understand O'Reilly getting new music,
Yeah,
but
Cole's
that
music
music-
was the
that
undisputed
music
era.
is everything that is Adam Cole.
Yeah.
He did the boom and that didn't work.
Mhm.
He did the Adam Cole,
Cole
baby,
baby didn't
that
work.
didn't work. Like, nothing that
Flowed with his
Adam
stuff.
Cole
Mhm.
comes off with that new theme music.
And that the new theme music to me is him staying in WWE, whether it's on NXT or main roster. Because I thought I was like they wouldn't give him new theme music if he's gone. They would have just used Undisputed Era and that's it, and then he goes away. So I think he's sticking around somehow, but I didn't like either theme music either.
Mansuri and Madden, their prediction was that him and Britt will be working in the same company, but she will be in WWE and not the other way around.
I'd like to see her in
I don't
NXT.
see that.
They say for her to get to the star that she should be, she can only get there by being in the WWE because AEW, they don't have the women, with the whole cliche of iron sharpens iron. They don't have the women for her to go with back and forth to continue to get better.
I can understand that. That would have to be her personal decision because she's still an active dentist. And she would have to give that up.
I listened to her on Renee Young's Oral Sessions podcast that she does, which is great, by the way. Renee Young does a great job on that show. And the way she talks about how she loves Tony Khan, how he works with the talent, everything that they're allowed to do as far as schedule wise and everything else, and how she's allowed to keep her dentistry going. And she has to, in order to keep her license, she has to practice so much, or else she loses her license. And that's something that she worked obviously really hard for. So I don't see her, not anytime soon.
No.
Who knows how things shake out later on down the road.
Never say never.
Yeah, never say never in the wrestling business. But it was just interesting that they said that it would be her making the move and not him.
Yeah, no, I think she's going to be in AEW for a bit. She was the first female signee. So unless something would happen, they don't treat her.
No. Yeah, I don't see her.
Yeah.
I don't see her leaving anytime soon.
Yeah.
No, it was just something else that caught my eye. But yeah, I don't. Cole's in a weird spot because he's done everything he can do in NXT, but main roster wise, he'll have more of a chance on SmackDown.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But because of Raw's lack of everything right now, I think he would get put on Raw.
Yeah, I agree.
So, it's these it'll be interesting to see how the Raw after Mania shakes out, and if there's call ups, who gets called up. Normally that night's big surprise night as far as either people coming back into the company or a legend showing up or whatever the case may be. So it'll be real interesting to see how that plays off based off of what we saw from TakeOver both nights and who we think will be called up. We'll just have to wait and see. Part of the never-ending content that is WWE at this point.
Yeah.
37 straight hours of content they're doing.
And 9 days of straight content too.
Yeah.
It's a lot of content.
This will definitely test your love of pro wrestling.
I'm exhausted already. I'm not lying. I'm exhausted already.
It has been a really long week. This was the first time where I felt like, do I really want to watch more wrestling tonight?
Yeah. Because even though it's not WWE content on Wednesday, AEW's Wednesday, so there's your 10th day of content in a row. And there's wrestling on Thursday, but it's like Thursday I need a break.
You coming right back around.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna start back up.
It's 7 days a week now. Whenever you add in pay-per-views, so
and just imagine if there was no pandemic and you was there in person.
I was exhausted in New York. I couldn't do it this year.
So I don't think the way that they set up this week would have actually been their setup if it was a normal year.
Oh no.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think Mania would have stayed one night. TakeOver would have been Friday or Saturday. Hall of Fame would have been
Mania. Probably eventually maybe going to a 2-night. TakeOver, no.
Yeah,
like the next 2 years. Like next year is going to be in Dallas, and then the year after is in Hollywood. And those two are only one night only. Like they've already said that, so we'll get back to that. Thankfully,
good.
Yeah.
Anybody got anything else from NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver or AEW Dynamite?
Neither one of those. No.
No. All right. Any last tidbits we want to throw out there before we wrap this Friday night one of the Dunmark's Podomania weekend?
So I watched the main event of NXT UK Prelude, which was kind of their WrestleMania weekend event. And the only match I did watch was Walter versus Rampage. Rampage has only been in NXT UK for a few months now, pretty much just most of 2021. His stock has been elevating. You could just tell as soon as he came in that he was going to be getting a title shot at some point. And they finally gave that to him. Unfortunately, I felt like this match is going to be overshadowed by Walter versus Ciampa, because that was the better of the two matches. It was a solid match, but Walter and Ciampa was the breakout of NXT for this week.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to watch anything else. I'll go back and watch that whenever I have the time, whenever there's going to be a break in wrestling at some point within the next few weeks, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, NXT UK is a decent show, so I was glad to see them do something, but I think it was just kind of thrown in there at the last minute with the name and everything.
All right. Well, nobody got anything else. Less than 12 hours from now, 11 and a half hours, we'll be live for our regularly scheduled Saturday program.
Pop that up.
There you go. Blocking out faces that were made for radio, voices that were meant for TV.
Night 1 and night 2, we're just as That is WWE.
So we got way better creative than WWE. Don't try that. Way better creative. So tune in tomorrow at 11 a.m. We'll run through the normal show. It'll be more more focused on WrestleMania, obviously, because like we said, to kick off this show, it's the Super Bowl of wrestling. So we'll be covering that, and also special announcement from the Dumb Marks podcast will be made tomorrow. So make sure you tune in for that. No spoilers here. We're not Paul Heyman. We're not ruining anything. Big things coming from the podcast. We appreciate you tuning in. Gentlemen, if nothing else, go rest up, especially you, Jay, because tomorrow I'm coming in hot and heavy and getting ready for you to defend.
Oh, I'm with you, Steve, too.
Defend this
Bunny
bullshit of a build we got for
WrestleMania.
Bad Bunny.
This is the reason I'm doing this.
All right, tomorrow, Mania.
We're drinking the whole show tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I'm drinking the whole. I'm drinking the whole show
all day long. All right, thanks for tuning in tonight. Tweet the show, email us, follow us on socials. All those normal plugs that we do. Appreciations. And until tomorrow morning, you can catch us around the way.